About a year ago I reviewed the Stack Audio SmoothLAN Ethernet filter and found it to be good value for the money. It is a passive filter, unlike the SmoothLAN Regenerator reviewed here. The question is, does it improve the sound quality any further? The impact of an internet connection on the sound quality came as a surprise to me when I reviewed the AccuVox AccuSwitch Special Edition audiophile switch 6 years ago. Although I didn't understand exactly why, the improvements in sound quality were clear. You can find my reviews in the playlist Audio Grade Network Switches in the upper right corner, in the description and at the end of this video. Today technology has advanced and so has the understanding of the phenomenon. Let me first reassure the network specialist. No data is lost on the network. As long as the information remains in the digital domain, data integrity is guaranteed. Unless there's a defect, of course. So why should the sound quality deteriorate? It is essential to understand that a so-called digital signal is an analog square wave signal, which can become distorted and polluted with noise. It is this distortion and noise that confuses the DAC chip so much that it does not convert the samples exactly at the right time. The result is that it outputs an analog signal with subtle distortion that is not measurable with the current known measurements. What we can measure are the time variance at the clock input of the DAC chip that causes this distortion. It requires quite expensive equipment and a very careful test setup. Provided a good stereo setup is used, the influence will be clearly audible. If you want to know more, watch my video Why Digital Circuits Affect the Sound Quality. Links at the usual places. The function of the audiophile switches and Ethernet filters is to clean up the digital signal so that it is easier for the DAC chip to define exact timing. In this video I refer to the Stack Audio SmoothLAN Regenerator simply as the Regenerator. Let's look where in a stereo the Regenerator should be used. It should be connected directly to your modem/router via its input or via a local switch. This is how it connects to the internet. The other Ethernet port should be connected to your streamer using the supplied short network cable. The streamer in turn is connected to an amplifier via RCA or XLR cables. A pair of speakers or headphones are connected to the amplifier. If you have music stored on your computer or NAS, that can be played over the network too. If you have an integrated streamer and amplifier, such as an AV receiver, this is what it looks like. The Regenerator is available in black and silver aluminium. It measures 80 by 105 by 23 mm and weighs 0.33 kilos. On the front we see 3 LEDs. The left one indicates an active Ethernet connection on the input. The second indicates the power is on and the third indicates connection with the streamer is active. On the back we see 2 Ethernet ports and a USB-C port. Seen from the back, the left one has to be connected to the router, the right one to the streamer and the USB-C in the middle to the wallboard power supply that comes with the Regenerator. The original Stack Audio SmoothLAN was completely passive. The Regenerator, on the other hand, is active, meaning that it contains components such as integrated circuits that requires power. In that respect, it is similar to the discontinued Uptone Audio Ether Regen that I use in setup 2 and 3, although that also has a switch integrated on the input side. The Regenerator only has one port in and one port out. And to avoid any comments, I know that Ethernet is bidirectional. It's the Regenerator that wants you to use it in this direction. As is common with Ethernet filters, the enclosure cannot be opened. The bottom is screwed down with 34 small bolts and it looked like some of them were fixed with glue. Since I could not get in, I had to rely on Stack Audio's description. They have published some photos that show more or less what's inside. The enclosure is milled from a single piece of aluminium with 9 cavities in it. Each cavity houses one circuit to prevent crosstalk and RF interference. Stack Audio kept the Ethernet connection at 100 megabits per second, as this generates less noise while still being fast enough for even the highest audio standards. The filtering is done in 3 stages and filters out RF interference. There is an internal clock which improves the signal timing and stability. This is located in one of the cavities to prevent thermal and electromagnetic interference. There are 3 cascade active jitter attenuation stages, while also keeping data-induced clock modulation to a minimum. Again, all according to Stack Audio. To test the regenerator, I first used the Volumio Motivo. The local switch was the Zixel GS1900-10HP, which was connected to the Motivo via the regenerator. Also connected to the Zixel switch was the Zixel T56 modem router, which was connected to a 1 gigabit Odido glass fiber internet connection via a Nokia media converter. The small green computer Sonic Transporter i7 CDR was connected to the Zixel switch via a patch cable and is running room server, minim server and Audivana core server. The amplifier was the Air Acoustics AX520, which was connected to the Motivo via Grim Audio RCA cables. The PMC FAC12 signature speakers on the Stack Audio OVA 17 isolators were connected via AudioQuest Robinhood Zero speaker cable. The iPad Pro 2 was used to control the Motivo and Room Music server on the Sonic Transporter. When compared against a direct connection to the Zixel switch, the regenerator opens up the stereo image, solves a light coloration in the mid-range and gives more resolution to the mid-range. Sibilance changes like it is shifted into a narrow band at the top of the sibilance range. This is more agreeable on most recordings, but with recordings that produce strong sibilance it becomes a bit nasty. This time the Holo Audio Red Streamer and Holo Audio Cyan 2 DAC took the place of the Motivo. The Red and Cyan 2 were connected over I2S using a short 4K UHD 2.0 HDMI cable. Between the Cyan 2 and the Air amplifier, a pair of Grim Audio SQM XLR cables provide the analog connection. Again, compared against a direct connection with the Zixel switch, there was a reduction of mid-range smearing and slightly better resolution. But now the regenerator provides a more royal stereo image that sounds less crowded, more open. Pace and rhythm improves too. With sibilance we see a milder effect of what we have seen in sound quality number 1. Here I replaced the Holo Audio Red with the Magna Mano Ultra MK3 Farad streamer running Gen 2 player. The DAC again was the Holo Audio Cyan 2 connected to the Mano over a short 4K UHD 2.0 HDMI cable. Between the Cyan 2 and the Air amplifier, a pair of Grim Audio SQM XLR cables. The regenerator improves the overall reproduction with ease, less stress if you like, when compared to a direct connection to the Zixel switch. The resolution improves over the entire range. It sounds more open and pace and rhythm got better. Only sibilance now is slightly more noticeable, also with recordings that normally does not suffer poor sibilance. For comparison, I now kept the setup used in How Tested number 3, but replaced the regenerator with the 50% more expensive Network Acoustics Eno 2 passive Ethernet filter. So now we are comparing the influence of the regenerator to that of the Eno 2. The latter gives more air, reduced stress more, dampened sibilance more effective, increased the mid-range solution further, and overall it was even more convincing than the Regenerator. The Regenerator is clearly 2 steps up from the passive SmoothLAN, and it should be since it's triple the price. It is also very nicely built and because of its compact size fits easily behind the equipment. I tried it with the MK2 S-Booster BOTW PMP 5V linear power supply, but that sounded warmer, a touch muddier if you will. The Stack Audio switch mode wallboard power supply sounded more accurate. And on that bombshell we come to the end of this video. There will be a new video next week, so subscribe to this channel or follow me on Patreon, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram or TikTok to stay up to date on new videos. Patreon and YouTube Premium subscribers see my videos a week earlier and ad-free. Help me reach even more people by giving this video a thumbs up or posting a link on this video on the social media. It is very much appreciated. A big thank you to those viewers that support this channel financially. It keeps me independent and allows me to further improve the channel. If that makes you want to support my work, the links are in the description below this video on YouTube. I'm Hans Beekhuizen, thank you for watching and see you next week. And whatever you do, enjoy the music.